the night before last, we went to go see my daughter do her senior solos at the school. She got up in front of the crowd and sang and everything. Wouldn't tell us what the song was because it was kind of a tribute to my wife, we thought, man. But mainly told us that I picked that song because of you and Dad and how in your relationship, which is just, honest moment. Oh my gosh.
Did you cry?
Well, when she told us, I didn't know. She wanted to say something before she sang it, but if she said it, she would have cried.
Yeah.
So she didn't. And then we found out afterwards that what she wanted to say. And at that point, I was like, oh, come on, out loud. Really, dude?
Yeah.
My wife cries at the drop of a hat. Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
My wife too, man. But yeah. I'm a big softie, so I would have cried.
Hey, what's your problem? You have business problems? We have business solutions. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe. Life is a fight.
It is.
In business, every day is a fight.
Every single day.
So, hey, what's your problem?
Yes, as always, thank you, John David Wells, the big voice guy for the program, the What's Your Problem podcast. Check him out on Facebook, The Wells Report. If you like that political talk commentary, that's what he does. Don't mind the noise in the back. Still doing construction stuff here. You might hear some hammering and everything like that. So please be forgiving. It's always something. This is the kind of thing we go through. It's always something. We've got construction going on in the background, and this is what this podcast is about. It's always something. The What's Your Problem podcast is about Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals that go through similar things that we go through. If you're in business, if you sell, if you own a business, all that fun stuff. This is a video and audio podcast. Check us out at whatsyourproblempodcast.com. Follow along, subscribe, like, rate, review, share. And our big, hairy, audacious goal for 2023 going into 2024, most likely 2025, will be 10,000 average downloads per episode. Man, I'm just going to put it out there, and if you guys like it, you respond, please help me out and share it, and that's what it takes to get these things off the ground. I am your host, Jim McCarthy with JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com and It'sYourShow.co. If you want a podcast like this, check us out. And today, I've got a local Spring Hill celebrity, I guess you'd say. I mean, he's been in the rock industry, but now he's rocking insurance. Mr. Jeremy Holderfield, sir, welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
those two things, by the way, rock and insurance, they go hand in hand.
They totally go hand in hand,
of course.
And there are ways to promote yourself within that. I mean,
exactly.
you could play a greeter like Eddie Van Halen, right?
Sure, why not?
Was he one of your big influences?
Most people are going to be upset about this when I say this, but no, he was not.
Not at all?
I wouldn't say any at all.
Really? Okay, we're going to get into all that. Now it's like you see everything around you behind me. You can't see it on camera, but I've got a whole wall painted in tribute to Eddie Van Halen.
I know, and I appreciated that. When I saw it, I was like, this is as amazing as everything else.
Right. Well, there you go. We're going to also start things off with the Dad Joke Challenge. As always, Mr. Ed Fox is our joke teller. Reason being is he's a huge dad joke fan, and he also runs Trade Bank of Nashville. So if you've got a business, service, or, product kind of business, Trade Bank might be a good alternative economy that you could look into to plug into another set of businesses that do trade. You might be able to save some on your bottom line by trading some of your businesses if you got some languishing items, or maybe things are a little slow in certain areas of your service business. Check out Trade Bank. All the details are in the description. Trade Bank of Nashville. And Ed Fox, like I said, is the joke teller. We're both familiar with Ed Fox.
Yes.
You were part of the BNI chapter we were in.
So familiar.
So familiar.
I love him.
You do love him. He is a lovable guy.
Yeah.
Joke number one. Here we go. You ready?
All right. Let's hear this.
All right.
I can't remember how to write 1, 1000, 51, 6, and 500 in Roman numerals. I am livid.
Oh, man.
There you go. Because it spells out I am livid.
Yeah, wow.
You laughed.
I haven't heard that one yet.
That one took a little while to get to the end.
There's a little chuckle there.
Yeah, a little chuckle. Not bad, not bad. Keep going.
Not all math puns are funny. Just some.
It's some.
Gosh.
You get it?
When you told me
SUM.
like the typical reactions to these, I wasn't expecting to be one of them, but that was it.
You can groan. I mean, that's what they're there for, you know? All right, number 3.
I got into a fight with 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. The odds were against me.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something about prime numbers.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. People will roll their eyes at me because of how much I laugh at those.
Right.
I'm a dad joke guy.
I mean, honestly, you go to TikTok and there are those guys that sit on the dock with the coffee cups and the sunglasses. You can't not watch those videos. You know the videos I'm talking about?
Are you talking about my dad?
Is it your dad? I mean, they're two guys that are sitting on a dock on a lake.
Oh, no, not that one specifically, but my dad is TikTok famous.
Really? I did not know that.
74 years old. He's TikTok famous. You want to know why?
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Yeah.
He sits with a coffee cup and tells dad jokes on TikTok.
That's
and he's
awesome.
got 80,000+ followers.
And he doesn't care. He just putting them out there. Good for him. That's great. All right. One more. We got number 4.
My friend's a farmer. He owns 67 sheep. He asked me to round them up. I said, sure, 70.
Yeah.
Rounding
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad.
It was no livid, but it was pretty good.
The livid one was pretty good. Typically, he saves that one for the last, but this one looks kind of long, so here we go.
My friend was telling me that it's only a 5-minute walk from his house to the pub, but it's a 35-minute walk from the pub to his house. The difference is staggering.
Yeah. Because he drank a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
He got me. He got me with that one. I'm going to tell Ed he got me to chuckle on that one.
It is staggering. So there you go. The Dad Joke Challenge brought to you by Ed Fox and Trade Bank. You go check those guys out. All the links are in the description as we continue to hear the hammering in the background. We're getting new pipes in the house.
MC Hammer, bro.
That's right. We are dads, man. Oh my gosh. Well, man, it's always good to see you. Miss you in BNI. You were a staple there for I don't know, a couple of years in the Williamson County chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a couple of years. It felt like a couple of years. A lot of good friends, a lot of good people there, and I miss them. I would come visit more often, but my group meets at the exact same time.
You are in the Spring Hill group down here, right?
No, I'm actually in another Franklin group.
Which
Wealth
one?
Builders is what it's called.
Where is that?
We meet at in Brentwood, part of Cool Springs. So it's over at the Bell and Alexander title office.
No, I got you. Very cool.
We started that group.
Right.
We started it from scratch. I had to leave the biggest group to start a brand new group.
That's all right.
I did not do that because I was like, hey, I hate this group. I'm leaving to start my own gig. I actually loved this group of Williamson County BNI people, and I felt like they were family. But a couple of business referral partners that wanted to start their own, they send me a lot of business already. Said, hey, we want to start our group, and we want you to be the guy, the PNC guy in our group. And I thought, I'm not going to let somebody else take my business there.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going over there to start a group with these guys, and we started it, and got 20 members now.
Nice.
It's good.
That's a pretty quick run up. Getting up to 20 members is kind of the average, and it's tough to get there for a lot of groups, but you know how to do it. So
it's there's a lot to live up to when you've come from the Williamson County.
We just kind of follow the rule book, and we're such a size that we make it fun. Yeah. With the music and interaction and all that stuff.
You know how much I've heard about you at our BNI group from other people that have visited it? They're like, they've got a DJ. I'm like, well, he's not a DJ.
Not really
but
a DJ. Yeah.
I was like, but he is making the group a lot more fun. So kudos to you, man.
And it's funny because I don't think I'm really doing all that much.
You are. In fact, this is maybe not the time, but I got to talk to you about the playlist because I took a cue from you. I am the DJ at ours.
Naturally.
Also the VP.
Yeah.
But I have a little Bose Bluetooth speaker that I'm playing my playlist from, and I'm thinking my playlists are never as cool as Jim's.
But it's funny because it's typically AJ or Andrew who's picking the music. The only thing I kind of chime in is that if somebody if Jana Truman, who's our commercial real estate agent and somewhat business broker, she'll do fun commercials where she'll start telling a dramatic story, and I'll always have like a dramatic music bed or something like that I can just pop right up.
Yeah.
Thank you for the Roadcaster, because how many times I use this Roadcaster. It just makes life easier. And you've got all these fun hot buttons you can put on here, like that kind of stuff. And, you know, all the different sound effects. You could do music as well.
I'm expecting some of those to show up during this at some point.
That's right, just magically.
Yeah.
You know,
but we're trying to bring a touch of the Williamson County into ours.
Right.
And that is one good thing about our group that most people will say is you guys have such a fun group. The atmosphere is good. There's a lot of, positive atmosphere happening. And I credit a lot of that to what I learned from you guys.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the Bluetooth speaker is cute, man. It's
hey, I don't have speakers on the stand.
Yet.
We're not there yet.
Get to like 35, 40 members, and you can justify the cost of it.
There you go.
At that point. And you go to Greg Glazer at Guitar Center. How many more people can I plug in this podcast? I'm talking about Greg Glazer and all that.
I know Greg will give me. I've got the GC Pro deal with.
Dude,
they'll hook him in.
Isn't he the best?
He is. He's a good guy.
Is. He is a great guy.
I like Greg.
He sold or he bought 2 cars from me. That's how I know him.
Oh. Yeah. We had a deal forever with the band, and that's how I met him. And then I've taken guitars to his dad's place, and
he's built a business that it's not who he knows, it's who knows him.
Oh, it's everybody though.
Everybody knows him.
Yeah,
everybody knows him. So you started out. You were in the music business. Started out very early in life, I guess, in your teens with Seventh Day Slumber. I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, since I was 14, that's what I was doing was music. That's all I wanted to be.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do. And I actually moved to Nashville from Alabama with another group.
Right.
Trying to make it, because that's what you do. Right. Hey, we got to move to Nashville if we want to make it. Yeah. And, man, we didn't know anything, obviously.
Right.
So I actually met my wife before I met Seventh Day Slumber, because my wife and the lead singer from Seventh Day Slumber, his wife and my wife are sisters. So
really,
yeah, it's a family affair over there, man.
I've reached out to him to be on the podcast. He never gets back to me.
Oh my gosh, it would be a blast to have
Joseph
him on here.
Rojas.
So we got to call him out. You mean
I'm going to call him out right now, dude. What's up?
It would be
come on.
It would be good. It would be better than my podcast that you're going to
whatever.
have. But I'm expecting mine to be a close second.
Dude, you're the guitar player. He's the singer. Every band has got the singer guitar player dynamic duo. You know, Eddie had Dave. Dave had Eddie.
Yeah.
You know, John had Richie. Richie had John. I mean, come on.
I like how you're throwing our names out there, Joe and Jeremy.
That's right.
So next time you're having this conversation, just throw us in the mix somewhere.
I totally will. Man, I speak very goodly about you, like you speak goodly about me and your BNI. I mean, you take what you can get in this life. So getting back to no big Eddie Van Halen fan, huh? Just
no, it's not that I'm not a fan. It's just I think I came onto the scene. So are you Van Hagar? Or are you?
I mean, I listened to it. Van Halen was what got me into music.
Yeah.
I was on Assateague Island on the East Coast when I was about 8 years old. My brother and a friend of ours who was vacationing with us, my parents, we shared a tent. My parents had the RV with their parents. So we would just kind of had the campsite. And they go down to the water in the morning to go swimming and everything. I was left behind. I was about, like I said, 8 years old. And I started, he left a boombox in the tent, our friend. And it was just sitting there. And for some reason, I never really had an inclination to listen to any kind of music up until that point. I pressed play, and it was the 1984 album queued up perfectly, with the big opening synth, intro. And that goes into Jump, that goes into Panama, Top Jimmy, Drop Dead Legs. I listened to that thing frontwards and backwards.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love.
Yeah.
And it's been, I listened to all the Roth era tapes and albums. And then you listen to the 1986, when they had Hagar. I mean, talk about just what a body of work.
Yeah. It's like, no doubt, Eddie Van Halen, literally top 1 or 2, 3 players that have influenced everything in rock.
Right.
So, I have a huge, tremendous amount of respect for that. I think what the problem was, like you're influenced by different artists, right?
Right.
Whenever David Lee Roth was part of the band, and I remember those songs, I wasn't a guitar player at that point.
Really?
No, I wasn't playing until 1993. When did Hagar come on the scene?
86.
So I didn't it's just before my time as far as guitar playing goes.
Right.
So I started playing guitar in 1993. But at that point, when I started playing guitar, it's all about what I'm listening to at the moment. And it was all bands like Poison and Motley Crue and Firehouse and Warrant. That was where I started playing originally.
Which is funny because you were in a Christian band, a very strong Christian background. You're listening to the Devil's music at that point.
Oh, yes.
Right?
It was all devil and Satan in those. No.
Right.
No, I listened to a lot of stuff that my older brother was listening to, so that's how I knew, Van Halen even existed and all. But I grew up on, MTV and all that, so I was seeing all this stuff. I love David Lee Roth's part, but I had more of a respect for Van Hagar, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, Hagar is definitely more of a vocalist.
Yeah. But
Roth
you know what?
is a showman.
But
right?
Tell me this, certain things that you listen to earlier on in life, you're like, I like it, but it's not you don't own the albums. But then later on in life, you have a new respect for it.
Totally. That happened to me recently with the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah. David Lee Roth didn't care for that version of Van Halen too much earlier on.
Right.
Now I love it. I love watching him perform. Metallica was that way. I wasn't into Metallica in my earlier age, and everybody knows you got to be a Metallica fan if you're a guitar player.
See, for me, for Metallica, it's the later albums that I just, couldn't care less about.
Well, it's not necessarily the albums.
Yeah.
It's more like going back and seeing what you missed out on earlier on. I wasn't a huge fan of Metallica's earlier stuff before the Black Album even. And now later on in life, I'm like, dude, this stuff is so killer. I wish I would have learned how to play it a lot when I was, 14 years old, sitting in my bedroom trying to figure out guitar.
The Black Album kept the integrity of the metal roots, but made it certainly more radio friendly. I mean, there's so much more color to that album. Oddly enough, it being black.
Yeah.
But, the predecessor to that album was And Justice for All, which was a very gray, dismal album.
Yeah.
It was extreme. But I will say that the kick drum sound on that album paved the way for recorded music in rock and metal genres from there on. Because, it was so much attack and punch and almost residual room bass in his kick drum sound. That's the kind of stuff I pay attention to. That kick drum sound was so signature.
Is that who was the producer?
On that one, I don't know who the producer was, but it certainly carried forward.
Yeah,
you heard it in everybody adopted and a derivation of that sound from there on. So that punchy, miking the beater hitting the impact of the head type of sound. So.
I get that's, as far as influences and stuff, it ebbs and flows throughout my career. And I'm also one of those people that from day one of learning how to play guitar, I was already in a band as a singer. I learned how to play guitar because I didn't know what to do with my hands, kind of like Ricky Bobby. When I was singing, I was like, I feel weird doing this. I'm like, I got to get a guitar. I can't be holding my hands up while I'm singing. That's just weird.
Right.
But then I was actually better at guitar than singing. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this instead. But I am like a guy that if I got an album that I'm listening to and, I'll just listen to that album. I still listen to albums over and over and over and over to this day. And people are like, have you heard such and such's new song? And I'm like, I don't even know who that is. And they're like, they're going on the biggest tours, and it's because they're listening to the hottest, playlist on, today's new rock, today's new pop, today's new country. And they know the latest people. And I'm behind on that because I've got that one person, they came out with an album, and that's what I'm jamming to.
Nice. That's one of your go-to albums. Like when you want to listen to something that's like visiting old friends. What's your go-to?
Oh my gosh! See, I have a wide variety. I love country.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love country and I also love rock. It just depends on what mood I'm in. Right now, there's two different things I'm listening to. One of them is Parker McCullum, which is like country. I'm listening to his stuff a lot, and then I've been on a huge Paramore kick, so I'm like jamming Paramore.
I can never get into them. I don't know why. Maybe I just need to give them another chance.
They're still into you.
They're still into me.
That was from a song. Still into you.
I got you.
Come on, that was a great. That was a time for the ding. You know, I don't know
if I knew the.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the only one I knew you had.
I got plenty of them. I got a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely time for a laugh track.
That's right. You got to do the hitting the post on this one. This is little Ready for the Weekend with Loverboy on WRKI. And that's the way that post would happen.
That was great.
Thank you.
No, Paramore, I've been on a huge, been on a huge kick. I like their stuff, man. So I've been jamming to it and been jamming to some country, but
I've been going back. Like I said, we saw the Doobie Brothers here at First Bank not too long ago. Just saw Chicago.
How was that?
Oh, they were amazing.
I see. Chicago, another one.
Right.
I've been on a kick now. I'll be honest. I'm not like old. I have a huge respect for old school Chicago, but I have very, very fond memories of me and my brother and my sister riding around in a car listening to Chicago, the era like Chicago 8, I think 16 through 18, those albums.
Right. You talked about the mid 80s?
Yeah.
There's a meaning in your life.
Dude, you're the inspiration. Like
freaking amazing.
But there's like 5 songs that are like, this is essential Chicago to me.
Right.
And I'll listen to those 5. They're so good. I'll listen to those 5 songs like 5 times in a row. I love them.
It's just crazy that a band, I mean, they spanned, when they said we saw them, they were playing together for 56 years.
Isn't that amazing?
5 decades worth of music. Isn't that nuts?
It's unbelievable. I missed that show. I did see some video footage from it, but man, that's my musical stuff's all over, but I'll play those same songs. I have the respect for the older stuff because they're musical geniuses.
Right.
I think. But some of it,
section.
Even though they're musical geniuses, sometimes I just need to unplug. And just I just need a good song. Give me a good song with a great melody that I don't have to figure out the timing so I can bob my head to it.
See, these are things I never knew about you. I kind of wish I did.
Yeah.
You know, we live 2 minutes from each other. We should really hang out more. But I mean,
yes, we should.
And talk about this kind of stuff because you have such a wide taste of music like us. I mean, the night before last, we went to go see my daughter do her senior solos at the school. She got up in front of the crowd and sang and everything. Wouldn't tell us what the song was because it was kind of a tribute to my wife, we thought, man. But mainly told us that I picked that song because of you and Dad and how in your relationship, which is just, honest
moment.
Oh my gosh.
Did you cry?
Well, when she told us, I didn't know. She wanted to say something before she sang it, but if she said it, she would have cried.
Yeah.
So she didn't. And then we found out afterwards that what she wanted to say. And at that point I was like, oh, come on out loud. Really, dude?
Yeah.
My wife cries at the drop of a hat. Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
My wife too, man. But I'm a big softie, so I would have cried.
Yeah.
And I understand her. That's awesome. So she did pretty good. She got the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, she had a good time. She's gonna be singing at Carnegie Hall in February.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, man.
Big time now.
Pretty cool. But I mean, that night we came back and I was processing all the footage. And while we were doing that, we were listening to music and we listened to like Sarah Brightman and Andrea Bocelli, a lot of Broadway stuff, Phantom of the Opera, all that stuff they're into. But I mean, I never knew I would be into that kind of stuff.
It's got to be the right time.
Just a wide, diverse range.
You got to be in the right mind frame for that. I think.
For me, that's anytime music.
If you're down for it, you're down for it. I've sang that stuff in show choirs and all kinds of stuff like that. I've been to see them in Birmingham and never in New York. But man, that's great music. It's not my first.
Do you sing along to music in the car?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, and I try. I sing in the car, But when I see that people can see me, even though they'll probably never see me again, I try to act like I'm on the phone while I'm singing. So I change my facial features from this to,
Oh, dude, I guess I'm a ham. Because I freaking amp it up. I try to get them to look at me.
Yeah, look at me. Guess
right.
what song I'm singing?
That's right. Look at the fat 50-year-old guy.
My wife already, she knows when I get home and I'm like talking to her, she's like, "You've been singing in the car, haven't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, my voice is all sore." It's because I'm jamming.
It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
You got to, man.
Derive whatever joy you can and run with it.
I'm trying to keep my vocals still into, I've come off the road. I haven't been on the road in a long time. And so I've lost some of my vocal range and some of my ability to sing for a long time. So you sing like a half a song, you're like, why is my throat sore? It's because you haven't sang in a while, Jeremy.
I don't really worry about that because I don't do it for
I'm just expecting, sometimes somebody else is going to come back and be like, "Jeremy, we need you to sing with us on this." And so I got to be ready. You know?
That's what the entertainer's secret is for. If you see it here, I'm holding it and all nicely, and it's a black and white bottle, throat relief. I'm going to take some right now, actually, and drop it on me.
You did the right thing. That's a great plug too.
I know. This thing is full of plugs.
They are lucky to have you.
I don't know about that, but the song that gets you every time. That, we always have those songs that we sing that if you start singing it, you get choked up. Excuse me.
Like that. Okay.
What song is that for you?
There's a new song. I think it's that question's great. And it's another thing that changes over time. The one that hits me now is Corey Asbury. He's got a song about his family. It's about, they got young boy, and the song's about from growing up until the son's getting married and all that.
Oh gosh.
And it's a great song. He just put out this album, Pioneer, and it's on that album. But it's very country sounding. But I listened to it, and the first time, I saw him on Instagram talking about this, and the people are sending their videos in about their kids and stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, I know when I listen to this song, it's going to get me. And sure enough, it did. And so I had to have my wife check it out. I'm like, "Babe, you got to listen to this song." And I already had the tissues ready because I knew she was going to be crying. Sure enough, she did. So it's great.
For me, it was the Kenny Chesney, "There Goes My Life."
I don't know that one.
Oh, buddy.
So don't make me do it. Or you make me do it.
Then there's another one, That He Didn't Have to Be by Brad Paisley. It's about a guy who basically dates a woman and adopts the child, and it's from the child's perspective. And he sings about this man who was in his life and was the proxy father, the stepfather, or the dad.
Yeah, that he didn't have to.
That he didn't have to be.
Yeah,
he didn't have to take the responsibility.
I have heard this one. The other one I need to listen to.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm up in Parma, Ohio, about a year and a half ago. We're doing a lighting job with our new company, J Squared, which we do a lot of LED lighting. If your business and commercial space needs an LED makeover, we could certainly help that. We could even make them change color. We do a lot for car washes. Check us out, magnitudecolor.com. So we're up there doing a whole lighting change out for a huge box store, and I'm up in a lift. I've got my headlight on. I'm just wiring lights up over and over again. We're up there for 8 or 9 days. I haven't been away from my family that long in a long time, if at all.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to Zach Brown Band, and one of the songs comes on, and I can't remember the dang name of it, but it's like one of those things where he's singing to his daughter. "I want to turn it on an ocean. I want you to sail the 7 seas.
Yeah.
I want to sing it." Because just me singing it right now, I'm getting the verklempt.
Yeah.
And, buddy, I'm up in this lift, tools in my hand, wiring up lights, trying to be a man, sobbing like a little girl.
Yeah. The guys are on the ground. They're looking up. They're like,
"No,
Jim, are you crying?"
Thankfully, they were nowhere near me. But here I was. I'm going, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
I'm away from it was everything.
Yeah.
The perfect recipe.
The older you get, man, life starts passing by. You got a daughter that's...
Right. 17.
17.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even... My oldest is 11 years old, and I'm just not ready for that. All these people
Is she only 11?
She's 11.
Really?
She's 11 and she's growing up too fast, man.
Wow.
I'm taking her to her first dance on Friday night, and I'm not ready for that, but it's a little
Daddy-daughter?
It's really, I'm not even supposed to be there. I think you're just dropping the kids off, and it's at a church, so it's like a very innocent thing, but
Nice.
it's like she's trying on these dresses, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
why? No, this is not
happening.
right. You're supposed to just be playing with My Little Pony,
Right.
and that's it.
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah. You never, ever grow
so
up.
they're growing up so fast. So when anybody has a nice voice and a good song, and they're talking about your kid getting married, having kids of their own, and you're like, why are you doing this to me? So yeah, I don't like that, but I do appreciate it.
It's you need to check out that song from Zach Brown. I got to find it. I can't remember.
We're gonna get this done. We're gonna figure it out afterwards.
So you're in the band for a number of years, a good almost 2 decades or 15 years.
It was like 18 years, I think. I stopped. It was back in 2001 or 2, something like that I joined the band.
Right.
And Annie introduced me to the band. She's like, hey, my brother-in-law that's how they got to Nashville, is they all came here for that. And she's like, you should meet him. He's in this Christian rock band called Seventh Day Slumber. And I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But I joined the band. They needed a guitar player, and that was it. I was in the band, and we had, 10, 12 albums. They're still out making music, and I'm helping them record here and there and writing music with them. But they're still out playing. But I came off the road in 2018. So it was about 18 years of touring nonstop, man.
That's similar to me being in radio. Mm-hmm. No, almost similar.
Almost.
You had to get out of your system, have fun, realize that you're not making any money, and now you're in catch-up time.
Oh man,
right?
You know what? I think that is what most people say. I did everything. I never was rich from it. I always had more than I felt like I should have.
Right.
Like the band, we always got paid more than, I don't know. I had stuff. I had a house and cars and my wife, and there was times where it was tight, but I was like, I got all this from playing music. And then God would remind me, he's like, no, you got this from ministering.
Right.
And music is how you did that. And so we always had enough.
Right.
We always had enough. But man,
you get some kids into the mix, and we got to make something here.
We're homeschooling the kids,
Right.
And because we were on the road. So Annie's homeschooling the kids, but Annie traveled with me. I don't know if you knew that. She toured with us, and because we were married 10 years before we had kids.
Right.
And so, she had the first baby, and we're like, well, let's just bring the baby out on the road. There's room. So we did that, and then we had the second baby, and it was like, well, let's do the same thing we did with the first one. So we got 2 babies out on the road, and then it was like, well, now they need to be homeschooled because I don't want to stay home from being on the road. I want to be around you. So we were homeschooling them on the road, and that just got too much. And there's other things, there's other parts to the story that made it where it was like, it's time for me to move on.
Right.
So that's kind of like, that was the beginning, though. That was all that stuff right at the beginning. It was about 2014 whenever I was like, this is not working.
Right.
But it took from 2014 to 2018 to do that.
Well, to figure out the next plan. Yeah.
Well,
for me, it was the car business, getting out of radio.
Yeah.
That was the transition.
You do something from 14 years old to when you're, 30 something.
Did you feel kind of like, what in the world can I possibly be qualified for? Was that going through your head?
It really was. My dreams were always to do what I had been doing.
Right.
And when you only are focused on that, like, I've got to do this, I've got to accomplish this goal, and you spend your entire career trying to accomplish that goal. Like, I always wanted to make it. Every album we put out, we're like, this is going to be the one that puts us over the top. And we're like, wait a second, we made it 15 years ago.
Right.
The band was touring in a tour bus when I got into it. We were on a record label playing in front of, thousands of people. How is that not making it? Now financially we weren't rich, is that making it? Is selling albums making it? Is it's doing it for full time? Is that what's making it? So we spent a lot of time trying to make it.
Right.
Even though we had already, or at least me, that's what I felt like I spent 18 years scratching and clawing to get to the top.
Yeah.
And that's a tiring thing to do, man. But I never felt like, I felt like I had the ability to do whatever I really wanted to do outside of the band, but I just never expected that I was going to need to do something outside the band.
Right.
You get in, like, this is what I want to do. This is my dream. And then when you start getting kids and you start getting closer to 40, you're like, wait a second. I still got half of my life. There's Seventh Day Slumber is awesome. People love us, but how can I'm not going to retire on this.
Yeah. And
other things going on. My brother passed away in 2014 from cancer. And that was like a huge point in my life where I was like, life is finite, man. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing here in the band, but I've done everything that I set out to do as far as music is concerned. I toured like global, had #1 albums, #1 songs, played it all over the place. I toured, like, that's the rock and roll lifestyle. Like, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
I did all that stuff.
Seeing the world on somebody else's dime.
Yeah, I did that already. So if God releases me from the ministry side of it, I feel like I'm ready to move on because I don't want to do this anymore.
You got it out of your system, man. Now
Yeah.
you know what it's like. You can reflect on those years. It's kind of like us going to concerts.
Yeah.
If you better be really good or a band we really want to see, because we've been to so many damn concerts because of radio.
Yeah.
That this is the crazy thing. We had an opportunity to see Ed Sheeran about 2 months ago, and we got free tickets and everything. My wife and I look at each other and we go, oh. Whereas everybody would be stoked.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
for us, it's like, just
Another show? That many people?
oh my God. Yeah. It's so many people and the hassle, the parking. And oh gosh. You know, do they have a box seat? It's how spoiled you get.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
That you're exactly right, which is why we've got a great venue in our backyard now, right? With this amphitheater and so many great acts.
It really is beautiful. First Bank Amphitheater is actually a great place. You should really check it out. If you like a concert that's kind of like got that Red Rock feel, First Bank Amphitheater. Check them out, firstbankamphitheater.com.
It's amazing. And
so full of plugs.
And there's great artists coming through it. It's not small potatoes, man.
No.
I mean, you got great big artists coming through there. And but man, it's going to take the right group to get me out of my house because I'm an old man when it comes to I'm already crotchety about having to find parking and being in the middle of a bunch of sweaty people.
That's right.
So yeah, it's got to be the right thing.
And I'm of the same ilk, of the same kind of background. I would imagine, I will tell you right now, it's actually not a bad experience. If you get there early enough, you could set up a nice little tailgate, some picnic, hang out, have some dinner, and then you just kind of mosey on up to the show. And
it's great. But man, it takes a lot to get you and I out of the house for a concert these days. Yeah. But I tell people that I retired from
concert going,
from music, from being a professional musician. Like I did that, and I did it nearly 20 years, and I retired from it.
What about being in a cover band?
Yeah.
Would you do that? Playing bars?
Dude, I think that I get the hair every once in a while because how I told you it wouldn't be a cover band. It would be a tribute band.
What would be the tribute band?
Well,
if you had someone holding a gun to your head, you got to commit to a band for the rest of your life, and that's all you do. Who's it going to be?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a good question, right?
That's a tough one, man.
Yeah, if you deviate, we're coming after you.
I feel like you put me on the spot here. I mean,
there's so many of them, right?
There's too many of them, to be honest. Like, I don't even know how to answer that. I feel like I want to answer it with like I can't answer that. I would,
if somebody were pointing a gun at my head and said, make a decision, because I've always I wanted to be in like a Bon Jovi tribute band. I wanted to be nothing but, borderline, not thrash metal, but, there are category specific types of bands out there, right? That actually do fairly well. There are bands that could play Iron Maiden and all that stuff in a bar and crush it, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's in that genre. I've seen it happen. But for me, if I had to actually pick something, I'd have to go with Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh man, that's awesome. Because it's going to make you dance, right?
Oh, the music's great. It's so much fun.
Jeez, man. I mean, it would probably be somebody from the late 80s or 90s, probably 90s, just because that's where that was like the most pivotal moment for music came for me was in the 90s as far as like that stuff goes. I don't know, man. That's too broad of a question. I'm not being a good like guest on the show by not having an answer.
I would think like, even the Journey tribute band, I would say the Journey thing is kind of overdone at this point. Their music is fun to play.
That was a band that came to mind because they've just got such a great catalog of awesome music.
Yep.
But I have a feeling if it was going to be a tribute, it would probably end up being a country band and just somebody like a Diamond Rio.
Five-part harmony. Man.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably pick a Diamond Rio just because the music's really fun, great melodies, great songs, and all the harmony in the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up Southern Baptist, so it was like I was singing Southern Gospel since I was a kid.
So if you had to be a genre of a cover band, it would have to be that late 80s, mid 90s type of genre.
I think, like a country artist from that time frame because it's just great big melodies and great songs, and it's going to be easy. So it's like it's not tough. No, it's going to be good for you.
If I had to choose a genre of country, it would have to be that 2002 to 2008 era.
Yeah,
because it's basically classic rock.
Yeah,
it basically got to the point where it's almost like hair metal. Glam rock.
I feel that. I have. Whenever I get on a kick where I'm listening, I went through a Skid Row thing for a minute about a month ago, band. Where I was, for probably a month or two, I was listening to just rediscovering how amazing Sebastian Bach was.
What a vocalist!
Yeah,
gosh.
I mean, after like when I went on that tear of listening to Skid Row, I'm like, this guy is literally one of the best rock vocalists of all time.
Really is. Underrated.
And he's still really got it.
He does.
If you listen to current, I mean, he's in bad shape, it looks like, but he's still got the vocals. I'm like, much respect, my friend.
Yeah, he's in his 50s, man.
He's still got it. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard a rock singer that I mean, it's him and Steve Perry and like, you got Steven Tyler. Like these are guys that are like up there,
rock voices,
and he's. I put him up there with that. He's just he's legendary.
They're only, and it's like, is there anybody out there right now that will the next generation will be listening to and be able to say, oh my gosh, what a voice? We've had all the big voices. You look, Cyndi Lauper. Underrated singer, amazing performer, vocalist. The Journeys are going to transcend. They're going to be around for another 50 years. All those bands that are, made their mark in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. Well, in the 90s, but the 90s it kind of started to wane. But what artist out there now, and what songs out there now are we going to be going? Man, are we just going to clamor to listen to?
Yeah,
there's nothing out there. The only thing I can think of is Zac Brown and maybe Lady Gaga.
Yeah, well, she's Pink. Another musical phenomenon. I think there's some pop singers that have those kind of voices that are just amazing. And in the rock genre, I feel like there's a pretty big gap. Daughtry has got enough you know what? I was I wouldn't say a Daughtry fan, but I thought it was awesome that he was rocking it out. He was American Idol kind of guy, but he's like, hey, I'm a rocker.
Yeah.
But then he went kind of folksy and lost me. Mm-hmm. But I heard some new music from him, and it's like the guy went hardcore again.
Oh, really?
Pretty heavy. So I'd just say check that out. He's got a great voice, man.
Another underrated guy, and he's in the punk genre, is Greg Graffin from Bad Religion.
Man, Bad Religion I haven't listened to in like forever.
Yeah.
So that's like
I got into them in the 90s.
Yeah.
Much to the chagrin of my girlfriend at the time. And
she wasn't down for it.
She was not a big fan.
Sorry to hear that.
Funny thing is that as they progressed, Courtney, my wife, wasn't a big fan either. But I think she's warmed up to it. My kids really enjoyed a couple of their songs. Their harmonies are off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, what's their biggest song, Bad Religion?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, that's some radio hits in the early millennium. Sorrow is one big one that came out. And that was early millennium. 21st Century Digital Boy from the late 80s, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then they had the biggie in the mid-90s, The Gray Race, the album, which had This Is Just a Punk Rock Song, Going for a Walk, all those different selections off there. That, if anybody heard them, they'd be like, oh, yeah, I kind of know that.
Yeah, that's the way it was for me. I heard them.
Right.
Like I said, my older brother, that was his, genre or his time frame of music. So anything he was listening to, I was forced to because I was in the same car.
Well, they're akin to Metallica, where they've been doing it as long as Metallica has been playing. I mean, not to the same degree of success, but certainly with that following.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, another iconic voice, Geddy Lee, Rush.
Yes, yes, and he wears a lot of sweatpants.
Oh my gosh. Like literally?
I think so. I feel like I've seen him in many videos wearing sweatpants. I don't know why that
music videos.
I feel pretty bad right now just because I probably offended some people. But like, that was the first thing. The first thing that should have popped in my head was an amazing bass player.
Yeah,
huge band, great music. But no, the first thing when you said that was sweatpants.
Sweatpants.
I may be off base, but I'm pretty sure he's a sweatpants, connoisseur.
There was a documentary that came out, I want to say in 2012, and it was all about Rush and their history
of sweatpants.
Maybe not with sweatpants.
Oh, okay.
But we were talking about it in the radio station. We were all big fans of Rush. And I came home and I said, there's this documentary about Rush. And my wife jokingly, she's like, no, we're not watching it. She goes, I'm just joking. We can watch it. So she's never been a big fan. She watches it and she goes, even though I'm not a fan, I really have a deeper appreciation for them because I had no idea it was just three guys and that he did all of that.
Yeah.
That was just, she says, that's just mind blowing.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I've gotten a lot of appreciation for a lot of people watching documentaries, things that you just don't understand until you see more behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Breaking the Band. I don't know if you've seen that. It's on Reels. I don't know if you got cable, but there's I don't know if it's a station or whatever, but it's called Reels, Reelz.
Right.
And they do a lot of documentaries on bands. It's called Breaking the Band, and it's, all these 90s bands, 80s bands, and it's Dean Snyder.
Dee Snider, yeah.
Dee Snider.
Another iconic voice.
Yeah. Dee Snider is like I don't know if he owns the channel or something, but he is the one that puts all these together and narrates it. And it's very cool behind the scenes stuff about these bands that you're like, wow, I didn't know this about them and that. You should check it out.
The funny thing is about him, he had his own morning show in Hartford, Connecticut for about 5 years.
Yeah. Was it like political based?
No, just rock and roll. It was a music station, and he would interview bands that came through town. And oddly enough, he was positioned against his pal, Howard, who was on the competing rock station.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But
well, Howard,
they still got along.
That'd be a tough one to fight against.
Yeah, pretty much. He's formidable, at least when he was on terrestrial radio. So at one point, you get to the point where you got to make a decision. And how did the insurance thing come about?
So my dad has been an insurance agent since before I was born.
Right.
And he's been a very successful agent down in Alabama. And whenever I told him, the first thing I told him was, Dad, I'm thinking about coming off the road. Mm-hmm. And I had a pretty successful booking agency and studio, producing music. I still have those things. And my thought was, whenever I come off the road, I'm just going to pour more time and effort into those things to replace my income and to spend my days working. But when I told my dad that, probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks later, I get a phone call from the same company that he works for in Alabama up here. I got it from the Tennessee agency manager, and he was like, "Hey, your dad tells me that you're, thinking about changing careers." And I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe. And so he offered me a chance to come in and talk to him, and I went in and talked to him, but I had another, even though I would come off the road for 8 months or so, I had another tour that I was doing, and I was just like, man, this seems like a really great opportunity that you're telling me about, but I've still got one more tour left. I've got this booking agency that I'm really pouring a lot of money and time and effort into. And plus it's insurance versus music.
Right.
And so I'm like,
one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's sexy musician life, and then there's insurance guy. Yeah. So I'm like, let me just think about it. And
both commoditized industries.
Yeah, and for sure. Oh gosh, let's don't get on that. That's another podcast. But I was like, this in the back of my head from that day, I thought, this is ultimately what I'm going to end up doing. Yeah. I just had this feeling about it, and because I just knew it was a great opportunity, but I just wasn't sure, like, am I going to be good at it? And am I going to feel fulfilled doing this? Because the music that we had done, the Christian industry, the ministry we had, very fulfilling. There was purpose to it.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know if I can carry this into insurance. But, for 2 years, literally from that day, for 2 years, I prayed every single night with my family, God, give me wisdom to make a decision here. Show me what I'm supposed to do. And I kept asking pastors, like, what do I need to do? People that I looked up to, should I do this or should I do that? And people just kept telling me, man, God's going to bless you either way you go. Right. Like, I feel like you're praying for the right things. You're not making a rash decision. God's going to honor either one of those things you do.
Right.
And, but man, that's how I kind of got into it. Was my dad offered me to like come down to Alabama. He was like, come down to Alabama. I'm wanting to retire soon. I want you to come work with me, and then you can take over at my business.
Right.
Which was like an awesome opportunity.
You got the whole book of business.
Yeah, whole book of business. Yeah. Walking into going back into my hometown hero. Everybody knows the Holderfield name there in Jasper. It's a lot smaller than Nashville.
Oh yeah.
But then I was like, okay, but then I've got to convince my wife to bring my 3 kids back to Jasper, where they've got no friends and all this. And man, it wasn't in the cards. And my dad said, I think you need to, if you're going to take this job, you need to take it in Nashville. There's a lot more opportunity. And ultimately what made the decision for me was COVID.
Oh, wow.
I told you I had the booking agency. Mm-hmm. The booking agency was doing really well, booking a lot of shows for people, and I lost a ton of money when COVID hit because everybody wanted refunds on their deposits, canceling shows.
Oh, gosh.
So I spent from like March, when they start shutting down things, these promoters start calling me back. Hey, I think we're going to have to cancel this show. They're shutting things down. I'm like, no, this is going to 2 weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks, this thing's going to blow over.
They're supposed to.
Yeah, this thing's going to blow over. We're good. And for a month, I was just like trying to play defense and try to keep promoters from canceling shows. And then eventually it was just like, this thing's not going away.
Yeah.
And I lost so much money, and was just like, I was there with everybody else as far as like scrounging for like, what am I going to do to pay the house payment? What am I going to do this and do that? And we had some money in savings, so we're just kind of like dwindling down. And, I was just thinking, and I'd still been praying every day, what do I do, God? And I thought, you know what? If this can happen once, it can happen again. And I'm always going to be in this position where maybe it's not the government that shuts it down. Maybe I got one or two big artists that fire me at the same time from booking. Right. And all of a sudden I'm like scrounging to find new. And I'm like, with insurance, I don't have one or two or three promoters that I'm working with at the same time. I have, like right now, I have 600 clients.
Wow.
So if you fire me, Jim, I don't want you to fire me. But if you do fire me, I've got 599 other ones that are still paying, and I can feed my family. So it's important to keep all my clients, obviously, but it's not as much stress on me.
Did you have, getting into it, was it a quick ramp up, did it seem, or did it feel like it took a long time to get to where you are? I started scratch. Nothing was given to me. And literally, I mean, I'm surprised I didn't call you right away to try to get your insurance, or maybe I did. But like, I just started calling people and trying to get, appointments with people to just sit down and talk. And what I found out through that process is I've got all these acquaintances that I've known for 10 years, probably Facebook friends that I don't even know. Right.
Because we've been so busy with music and touring. And so what I found out during that time, that going to have lunch or coffee with those people, I'm like talking about their family, finding out their wife, one guy, his wife had cancer. She'd been battling cancer for a long time. And I'm like, I live 5 minutes away from you. We've been Facebook friends for 10 years. And I didn't even know that you were battling this. And I could have been there for you.
Wow.
I could have been a friend for you further than just Facebook.
Right.
So I really thought, this is a great opportunity to have new friends and to be there for people, and for people to be there for me in my hard times. And so as far as it ramping up, your question, it did take off pretty fast for me. And it's just because I'm not like really the smartest guy in the world, but I think people are like, hey, I trust you. You're a great guy. Let's see if it works. And
you built the relationships, because that's, I was going to ask about your salesmanship and things of that nature. But I mean, if you just kind of, you do what most insurance guys do, they're not going to try and high pressure you.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, here's what my rates are. Here's what I have to offer. Yeah. It's all about relationships, because I feed my business by getting referrals.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to get referrals if you're high pressuring people into the.
No, and if you do this, like, it's kind of like with Jesus. Like, if you can talk somebody into accepting Jesus, then somebody can talk them out of it. Like, they've got to make up their mind that this is what they want for their life. And for me, I just found a lot of I found a lot of success in relationship and in business in going into those conversations and asking as many questions as I could to find out as much about that person as I possibly could. And then they finally are like, hey man, enough about me. What is this about? What are you doing now?
Funny you should ask.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, let me see your driver's license.
Here's my policy. Here's what much it costs you in, you out. What do you want to do?
Yeah. So I think for me, I was very nervous about people like you, knowing like you, people that I had known for years, that knew me as the tattooed guitar player wears all black, and like I had to go buy new clothes for my new career. Like I didn't have one pair of dress pants.
Was that something that you felt like you needed to do, or could you? I always said, well, you can actually brand your persona into what you do. I mean, why not?
The longer I've been in it, the more I adapt to that. Right. When I first started, I thought if you're not wearing a suit and a tie, then people won't take you seriously. And I had a real worry about that, because I thought, people know me as the guitar player. How are they going to just say, oh yeah, now I trust you with my insurance, Jeremy? Right. It was a hard thing for me to overcome. So I didn't even really hammer my natural market that much. It was more trying to go out and meet mortgage lenders and realtors, make new relationships, people that I knew would feed me business. And it's been like just a slingshot, a success for that reason. That's what I love to do, is go out and make relationships with people, man.
Well, with that being said, we're going to hit it off here.
What's your
problem? This is the gist of the show, man. The whole idea. What is your problem and what are you dealing with? I mean, it doesn't sound like you're dealing with it being a commoditized industry. It is.
No, dude.
But the whole notion is trying to differentiate.
My problem. You want to know what my problem is?
What's your problem?
My problem right now is I'm a great salesman and a new manager.
Oh.
Okay? I know how to have a relationship. I can talk to you. I can hear what's going on with your life. And you can tell me on the insurance side of things what I could help with. And I can say, yeah, I've got this, this, and this. Boom. You like me. You like the product. You like me so much that even if my product's a little bit more, you're going to go with me because you want me to be your guy. And that's the kind of business I've grown. But the more you grow your business, then you're like, okay, I got to have somebody to help me with some of this back end work.
Yeah.
So you hire your first person. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I got to have another person. Well, now we're trying to find our fourth employee. And it's...
And you're doing this with Joe.
Yeah.
You and Joe, right?
Yeah. So it's easy to be... I'm a good salesman. I'm a good relationship person. Yeah. But I am new to management and having to manage other people and make sure they understand what they're doing. Because, in a band, I guess it's the same way. Some people in the band are like, I'm the leader. I'm the guy that makes the stuff happen. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. So it's got that same kind of thing going on. But with our band, everybody was pretty, like, they knew what their role was, and they kicked butt at it, man. They were, like, working hard to make sure that the whole thing happened, and we never had to tell each other what to do.
Well, I think you just kind of identified it, and that's what we're going through as a business as well. You have to identify and create the systems and processes in the business.
Systems and processes. Right. And I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff.
And that's, you come up with that, you can, because you don't want somebody who is going to be able to run your business for you, because if they bounce, then all of a sudden you're back to square one. So you become... the architect of the systems and processes in your own business. And the good thing is that there's so many people out there that have done it in that space that you can just copy and paste. You should be able to, there's got to be some massaging in that as well. I would look into the entrepreneur operating system. I'm trying to think of the name of the book, but it's called EOS.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. And it basically walks you through the entire archetyping of doing that for your business. Systems and processes, man.
Yeah.
That's the toughest part of it.
It really is like, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I am smart enough to know that if you don't get a handle on, our business has grown so fast that if you don't have a handle on the processes and documentation of those processes, then it's going to the problem is only going to get bigger and bigger faster. Right. So we're constantly like, that's what you ask, what keeps you up at night? I literally go to bed at night and sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, and you're thinking the first thing that happens instead of I got to go back to sleep, my thought is, are we doing this? Should we document that? Like, I'm losing sleep over it, but I'm listening to books. I'm watching podcasts. I'm doing all these things nonstop to learn to be the best leader that I can. Right. But man, that's a change, man. When you're having to change over from being like, hey, I'm really good at sales, but guess what? Now I got to be really good at leading too. I'm going to look it up right now. I know it's a book that spurred like a movement. Entrepreneur Operating. It's EOS, operating system. So it's based on the book. Of course, it doesn't come up with it. EOS Worldwide. What is the name of the damn book? I'm looking it up. It's based on a specific book, though. I know that. So what the heck is EOS? Mm-hmm. Gino Wickman? Traction. That's what it is. Yeah. I've read that. Have you? Yeah. Pretty good? Yeah. I've got... As I'm telling you about it, I haven't read it myself, so I'm asking you, is it good? Yeah. There's Gino. I've gotten several things by Gino, and man, he's got a lot of good stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what's tough? And this, you'll appreciate this, I think. I'm pretty sure you will. I'm an audiobooks guy a lot of the times too, because I had to drive back and forth to Franklin. Right. But if you've got a great book, and this, you know what, this goes out to everybody that's written a book and you're thinking about doing it on audio, like audiobook somehow. Get somebody, if you're not going to do it yourself, if you're not going to be the one that narrates it, reads it, find somebody that's got a great voice and can really do justice to what you spent so much time doing. I'm very blown away by, this is another one of my problems. I'm blown away by how many bad narrators, like, and not necessarily bad narrators, but they're like, this is a business book that's supposed to get you pumped up to do certain things, and the guy that's reading it is doing this number right here and this, and I'm like, why did you hire this guy? Was he the cheapest person you could find?
Most likely, yeah.
You've got a great voice. Why didn't they hire you to do it?
Now, they haven't heard of me yet.
Oh man,
Thank you for that, though.
That is another one of my problems.
Right.
It's just thank you for letting me rant there.
See, the funny thing is, it's the last thing I want to do is narrate books.
Oh,
there's no money in it.
I wish there was money, and that may be why there's no money in it. So maybe the guys that are doing it are just like they're
a lot of newbies go into the book narrating side of things for voiceover, get themselves on ACX, which is the big platform for audiobooks, and it's whenever I get a client who wants to read their own or wants me to do it and actually deploy it, and it's a freaking headache. So it's just a giant pain in the butt. But I appreciate that. I mean, it's I stammer all over myself when I'm actually hosting this podcast because I get excited and I have to pull myself back. But when I get a script in front of me, I can actually sound somewhat coherent. So
you sound very coherent to me. I think it's just tough because there's some of these books and I know it's got some great content, but man, if the narrator is not keeping my attention with his inflections, my mind just zones out.
Yeah.
And there's been several books where I bought them or did the audio book here, and I'm like Audible, and I'm like, okay, I lost my credit there because I can't listen to this.
Right.
I don't care what the content is, I can't follow it.
That happens to me with podcasts. Here's the thing: is like I listened to or watched a documentary on the Kelsey brothers. One of whom is dating some country diva pop star.
Oh yeah, nobody knows about that yet.
Nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So it's all about them. And they mention on the documentary how they have a podcast. I'm like, oh, let me go. I like these guys. I'll check it out, I gave it one episode. And I'm going, okay, this is one of the biggest sports podcasts in the country. Top 5, easily.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Is it really?
I mean, the first 10 minutes was nothing but garbage.
Yeah.
Get to the point.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on here? You guys are, every other word is the F-bomb. And they're, talking about stuff that's inside joke type stuff. And it's like, okay. So I tell people, I said, if they can have a top-notch podcast being done so badly the way they're doing it, naturally with the momentum off their celebrity certainly helps them out.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you couldn't have a podcast.
Yeah.
None.
Your podcast looks and sounds great.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic. I wish I had the same radio voice that you do, but
you have your voice, man.
I've had it for my whole life.
That's right. My voice wasn't always like this. I was actually a lot more higher pitched.
Oh yeah.
And then they finally dropped about 5 years ago. So.
What is they? No, I'm just kidding.
The boys.
Yeah. So that's getting back to it. Mm-hmm. That's my problem right now. And what's interesting? What's interesting to me is even though I stress about it, I'm like super excited about it. Yeah. And by the way, my worry about finding purpose or finding fulfillment in this was gone within about a week.
Yeah.
The first couple of conversations I had with people and really finding out that I have an opportunity to get better relationships with people and help them. Yeah. And guess what? Get paid. Like, it changed my life, man. So yeah. I have loved what I'm doing for the last 3 years. I've loved it every bit as much as I did playing music for a living.
Nice.
If you can believe that, I really, truly have loved it. And
because I see your performance.
Yeah.
You're a top performer. You're a rock star in that realm. I mean, it's you're one of the top performers in Countrywide or Country Financial.
Yeah.
Not Countrywide, God forbid we say that name. But Country Financial is the name of your company.
Yeah.
And you're partnered with Joe Easley, who's still in our chapter.
Yeah.
And great guy.
He is.
And I have my insurance through him.
Good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that, which, brings me my second thought about, have you thought about changing? No, I'm joking. Everything I know about insurance, even though my dad has been in this for as long as he has, and he did help me out when I first got started, but I feel like 99% of what I know in insurance, as far as insurance goes, is from Joe.
Yeah.
He's been a huge part of my success, any success I've got. I still go to Joe's door. I'm like, hey, buddy, what the heck does this mean?
Yeah.
You know, this just happened. Because insurance is like every single day is something new that you've like never come across. And you're like, oh, I've never had that happen. So let me check and see, you know. And I have a feeling it'll be that way for a few years, but you know, it's always something new. And Joe's a wealth of knowledge. I call him the dictionary of insurance. So
Nice.
Or encyclopedia, I guess.
If I had to go in that business, I think my brain would turn into mashed potatoes, because it's like I look at policies and I go, I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and I guess, you know, you do it over and over and over again, you're going to figure it out. But
you know what? I am trying my best, and I think this is what we all, as business owners, people that start your business, I don't want to get caught up in the small things. It's all important, but there's reasons to hire different people.
yeah.
I'm always only going to be great at what I'm at relationship and the
Getting
the
more
proposal.
accounts.
Like,
Yeah.
let's
Hunting.
and I keep telling my employees, I'm like, I want you to be great at what you're doing if you like it. You know,
Yeah.
if not, let's change what you're doing to something different. But I want you guys to be great here so that I can go out and do what I'm best at. Because the more I'm in here, the less money we all make.
Right.
If you can keep me out of the office because this thing's working like a well-oiled machine, if I'm not in the office, then that means we're all going to make more money. You don't want to see me here. You want to be like, oh, Jeremy's out, you know, taking people to lunch. He's doing this. He's talking to these people, because that's where I shine. And not that, I mean, it's an easy place to shine, having good relationships with people. But,
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we're working towards, is making our office self-sufficient and making sure that those people are equipped to do their job to the best of their abilities, man.
And it's, you know, getting a point person in there, almost like an office manager that leads all of that. And even their job has to be where if they decide to bow out or go somewhere else, you've got the systems and processes starting there that you can plug somebody in. They can ramp up in a week or two, and you're still not missing a beat, because that is your strength. That is, your, you know, getting out there and getting in front of people. But at the same time, the office has got to run itself. You got to have somebody taking phone calls for claims and things of that nature. So
yeah, and you know what? You have to. I think one of the things that we're working on right now is trying to get all these. Hey, next time you do this specific thing, we need to like document what you're doing.
Right.
Because some of that stuff I don't even know how to do. It's like my employees to do it. I'm push it off to them. I don't want to know how to do this, because if I know how to do it, I'll probably do it next time.
Right.
I don't want to know how to do it. But we want to video these processes, which if we had this kind of setup would be great.
You totally can.
Yeah. I'm just sending my employees over here if that's okay.
You
We're
can
just
always
down the road.
Just rent it.
Yeah,
You know,
there you
we'll
go.
figure something out.
But that's, I want video documentation of it. So it's like, hey, go check out the video files. They're all there to show you how to do this stuff. But man, that's an overwhelming thing to think of when when all you want to do is go out and say, hey, Jim, who are you working with that needs this, or this? What can I do to make your business better? Like, that's what I want to do, is go out and do that.
That's what you thrive on. That's what feeds your soul right now.
Yeah. But the documentation stuff, I think it's fun because I'm learning, like, just the business of being a manager of these people and helping them succeed. Mm-hmm. I think I love that because I want them to love their job. I want them to be good at it. And that's what I think I do thrive off of, building things and feeling like, hey, look at what we've done. Look at what we did together.
It's crazy because, I mean, even with what I do, getting up on a lift every now and then and actually getting my hands dirty, using tools back when I was, 19, 20, 21 years old, still doing that kind of work excites me. You know, it's actually, I did enjoy my time up in Ohio when I was, crying like a little girl on top of the lift. It's repetitive work, but it was a cool memory.
But you started it and you finished it. I think that's another thing that's like
sense of completion.
Yeah. That's, I used to do roofing before music, before I did that full time. I was in roofing and like copper work and stuff like that. And you start the job and you finish it and you can stand back and say, man, this looks
at
good.
that.
And that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
you like, lighting especially. Makes it beautiful, makes it awesome. Like you see the difference and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
look what I did. I can see how that would be very fun.
Have you seen Washtopia down the road here recently?
Yeah, I just got my car washed there. And when you said that you can make them change lights, I was like,
That's
I
us.
wonder if he did that.
We did.
Yeah. I mean, it's a regular party over there now.
It is. That's exactly how they said they described that they wanted. They wanted the outside to look with their branded colors, but when you go inside, and this is exactly how the guy did it. God bless you, Daniel. He goes, inside, it's a party, baby.
It is. I feel like there should be a dance party there. And I mean, I'm in. I went by there. I gave money to the cause, man.
Nice. Well, how can people find and follow you and all that fun stuff? You're at Country Financial.
Country Financial.
That's right.
I mean, I wouldn't send people to my website necessarily. I would say for people wanting to contact me, just find me on Facebook. It's Jeremy Holderfield. And you know, that's, I share my life on there, my family on there, and there's so much compliance junk. It's hard for me to post anything about my business. Every once in a while, and this is for you to know too. You see me posting something about me being number one on something. I think I struggle with making sure people know that, hey, I'm actually legitimate at this business. It's not me gloating. It's me saying, hey, I am legitimate. You can trust me.
You can see it that way, but I think it is taken as cred. That's definite street cred. When you show up in lists like that, it shows that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not successful if you don't have, you're treating your relationships right. You're not going to have that kind of, and especially if it's over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. You've got a track record.
We're trying to finish if we finish the year out the way we want, I'm going to be number one in the market in Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia for reps that are 4 years and under. This is my last year to win that award, and I'm in first place for it right now. But I gotta keep pushing, man.
That's right.
Speaking of which, we need to talk. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
You have that conversation with Joe, man.
Find me on Facebook. Friend request me, and love to meet new people, man. I'll buy you a burrito next door at Acapulco. Shout out to Acapulco Mexican restaurant here in Spring Hill.
Or Chicken Salad Chick. We had lunch there. That was good.
I am basically an old lady at heart. I drive an old lady car. I found
you drive a GLC. That's not an old lady car, Bo. That's a cool car.
It's a great car. When you're driving down the road for the next week, every time you see one, look who's driving. It's an old white lady.
Oh, really?
I'm an old white lady. I love Chicken Salad Chick. Every time I go in Chicken Salad Chick, it's basically women from their mid-50s up into their 70s eating chicken salad together. And I'm like, I feel this. I love chicken salad.
Well, if you at least get the AMG trim on the vehicle, the manly wheels, that kind of stuff, it's less, ladylike.
I cheaped out, bro. I got the cheapest version of it I could because I'm a smart guy financially, and I wanted to get the best look for the least amount of money.
Of course.
I'm about to trade it in and get a truck. I gotta get my manhood back because I feel like I've switched over. I'm a 65-year-old lady now.
Get a Tesla. Go electric.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go full blown truck with 4-wheel drive to reverse the process.
As long as it's not like a Honda Ridgeline or something. I know that personally. I don't think I've ever lived it down, but it's a great car.
Man. Yeah.
So with that being said, make sure you find and follow Jeremy. We'll post all of his links in the description. And of course, follow us, what'syourproblempodcast.com. Share, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that fun stuff. And Jeremy, always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Absolutely. I was happy to be here.